why now for hydrogen is really not driven, in my view, not driven by not driven by carbon, not driven by COP26. These are things that happen in the political space. It's not, you can't drive from a political position. You've got to create a demand. You've got to have a reason for it. And the reason why we need hydrogen, and the reason why green hydrogen is very, very attractive, is because we can create it at an infinite rate. All we need is water and electricity. Electricity, the cost of electricity has come down substantially. Like, renewable energy is now the cheapest form of energy globally. It is cheaper than coal. It is cheaper than gas. It is also infinite. The sun shines and the wind blows. The problem with both of those things is they're intermittent. The sun only shines in the daytime and the wind only blows when it's windy. That's the problem. So we talk about energy storage and we talk about how to create base load power, or the concept of base load. We need electricity 24/7. We also need a fuel or energy to put in particularly mobile applications, whether that is trains, buses, cars, ships.
Long-haul transportation, shipping, aviation.
Exactly right. So, and that you need a fuel. You need a source of energy that is easily transportable and on demand. So that creates a huge opportunity. So that sector is very difficult to decarbonise. It's very difficult to get away because we've developed internal combustion engines, whether that is petrol or diesel. People often ask me, am I going to drive a hydrogen car? I don't think we're going to drive hydrogen cars. I think we'll drive electric cars. But am I going to get a hydrogen bus to work and get on a hydrogen plane to fly around? Yes, I am. Are our goods going to be shipped internationally using hydrogen or a derivative of hydrogen, ammonia, which is just hydrogen plus? So the answer to that question is yes. And that fundamentally is a replacement of diesel.
Correct.
It's diesel replacement. So just to give that a little bit of a nuance, if you drive a diesel car because you're doing hundreds of thousands of kilometres a year, because that's when diesel becomes economic, then you might drive a fuel cell car, a hydrogen fuel cell car. But if you're doing short hop, even travelling between Melbourne and Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, you can do that in an electric vehicle very easily because the technology is there to recharge those. The refueling or the range risk or the range anxiety that people talk about in electric vehicles is not really there anymore. The fast charging is available to do it. So to answer your question, why hydrogen now? I'd say to you, it's not hydrogen now. But what has created the conditions, the market conditions which mean that hydrogen is viable to decarbonise hard to carbonise industry, and we haven't even talked about steel and all sorts of other stuff, but hard to decarbonise industries is because the cost of electricity, the cost of solar and wind has come down so substantially.
Is it the solution to our base load question?
Hydrogen?
So
no.
2 years ago it was gas.
Right.
Yep.
So
Prime Minister came out, gas is our future.
Right.
Now we're all in on hydrogen.
But this is what's really cool about hydrogen, okay? Because once you've made hydrogen or ammonia and you've got it in a tank, you do lots with it. It's a gas, right? You can burn it in a turbine. Both GE and Siemens have turbines now, big gas-fired turbines, 650 megawatt turbines, that will burn 100% hydrogen.
Without transition? So
you can buy one now.
So you can transition from gas in a gas turbine today and basically burn hydrogen.
You can buy a turbine now that will burn gas and burn hydrogen 100%.
That's what I understand. Okay.
Right?
So that means that there's low transition cost then between a gas fuel and a hydrogen.
I'm working on projects that are going to get up on financing with LNG.
Yeah, so it goes back to this marginal cost question, right? So that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
So you're going from emissions-intensive gas to emissions-free
hydrogen. Correct.
That's what we're saying.
But that's just the energy. That's just electricity, right? So you create the solar. So you create the solar energy. You turn it into hydrogen. You've now got a base load or a fuel source you can burn in a turbine. You can also put it in a bus. You can also put it on a boat and send it to Korea or Japan. Or you can convert it into ammonia and also send it to Japan or Korea, or turn that ammonia into a fertilizer.
So just are you sending hydrogen in gaseous form, or are you sending it in ammonia?
The massive debate.
This is the debate, right?
There's a massive debate.
So we're jumping around a bit.
No, it's
okay.
good. No,
this is good.
Because this is exactly what I do every day. I was having this conversation with someone just earlier this week. right? On Sunday, actually. So anyway, in my view, so you've got a couple of different. You've got basically three ways to do this. You can compress the hydrogen. You can liquefy the hydrogen, or you can add nitrogen and turn it into ammonia. That's basically your answers. There's different pros and cons for both, right? Compression, obviously, it's not liquefaction, so you've got a much bigger tank, right? But it doesn't cost as much of energy, the parasitic energy to compress versus to liquefy. The challenge with liquefied hydrogen, and I am not saying this is not the answer, but you've got to keep it at essentially 0 Kelvin, which is another 100 degrees cooler than LNG. The energy required to do that and to keep it at that temperature is enormous. It's technological advancement will improve that, but it's very, very energy intensive to maintain cryogenic hydrogen. Right? It's also, not only to make it, but to keep it and then to regasify it, you'll also lose a lot of energy on the regasification. So compressed hydrogen actually could potentially be, particularly at a relatively short haul. So I'm working on projects which are make the hydrogen in Queensland, send it to Victoria. That's a compressed type of...
So that's a domestic supply,
That's a domestic game,
And in the
right?
short term, that will be via truck, one imagines.
You would do it via truck, but again, if you can put it on a vessel, you're going to be you're going to create
coastal shipping,
coastal shipping, right? And then you can talk about whether the hydrogen's in a pipe or not. We can talk about gas networks and come back to that. But there's a lot of work going into that right now.
And again, to convert existing gas pipelines to be capable of hydrogen
Well, you
supply.
can put hydrogen in the gas pipeline.
In fact, there was a test recently, right? 10% hydrogen through a gas pipeline.
Correct.
I think it was Gemino that did it, if I'm not mistaken.
They're doing it in Germany. They're doing it in Japan.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Olympics were a hydrogen Olympics.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can do it. So.